Hello, friends. Welcome into the 49ers Report. I am your host, Tom Downey, subbing in for Thomas Mott. He's on vacation, and we know who the Niners are playing in the NFC Championship game. It is the Green Bay Packers. I will make this the pinned comment on the video. I want you guys to predict the score. I'm assuming you're all picking San Francisco, but don't forget to include which team you got winning down on the pinned comment. It is the Packers and the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. Call this a historical rivalry? I think that's fair. It's number 2 on the road against number 1 in the NFC. A pair of now 14-3 teams. The Packers coming off a bit of a nail-biting win against the Seattle Seahawks, though they always find a way to make it interesting. Meanwhile, San Francisco, they kind of cruised past the Minnesota Vikings. Both these teams have played well. Both of them, by the way, maybe more so San Francisco overall this year, have actually very good defenses. Green Bay's defense, I think, has been underrated all year. It is a big reason why the 49ers have played so well, or why the Packers have played so well this season throughout the offensive issues that hasn't been the same this year for Green Bay. Not bad, still top half in scoring, but the Packers haven't had the same high-powered offense. That defense has really, really stepped up this offseason for the Green Bay Packers. The Niners, though, however, they are the betting favorite. They are a 7-point favorite hosting the Green Bay Packers. Maybe that seems a little high, but I know Niners fans, you guys remember this one. You blew out the Packers already once this year. That's a big reason why it's been such a difference in that spread. The early spread, which I'm for sure is going to change. By the way, on the Niners, one more note on that defense I wanted to make. The scoring defensive numbers are a little bit high, but since they've been healthy, since they got back Dee Ford, Alexander, Tartt, they've been back and playing at the very, very high level we saw earlier this season. All right, 49ers fans, if it is your first time watching, I think you're going to love the show. We do all kinds of stuff here on the 49ers Report, not just previews. We do news, rumors, free agency, drafts, and live Q&A. So if it's your first time watching, hit that big red button or just type in youtube.com/49erstv and subscribe. Here's where we sit in the NFC playoffs. Unlike the chaotic AFC, it's 1-2. Now, the order wasn't as expected. Vikings and Saints, they were eliminated this Vikings past weekend. Vikings beat the Saints earlier this playoff stretch. Seahawks eliminated against the Packers, and the Eagles have also lost in the opening wild card round. So it is 1 versus 2. Taking you to the Niners game against the Minnesota Vikings. That was kind of easy for San Francisco, wasn't it? Maybe a little dicey at first, but after the failing ESPN all picked the Vikings to win, it was an easy 17-point win for the San Francisco 49ers. It was an impressive showing. The ground game was great. They made life easy on Jimmy Garoppolo. Minnesota, meanwhile, had nothing going on the ground as they ran into a buzzsaw that was the 49ers defense. Speaking of that game, who was the MVP of 49ers versus Vikings? Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. I think there are several routes you can go. I thought Tevin Coleman played really well. We'll talk about him in a second, but what about Nick Bosa? I thought Bosa played really well, and I kind of want to give it to somebody on the defensive level. Ooh, maybe Richard Sherman. That could be a good one as well. You guys sound off. Wow, great job, Tom, in the comments section. All right, moving on now to the injury updates for San Francisco. Better news than last week as Alexander's back, Dee Ford is back, Tartt's back. Raheem Mostert did leave the game against Minnesota with a calf injury. He said it was just cramps. He battled illness earlier this week. He thinks he's going to be just fine. And even better news for San Francisco, Tevin Coleman's back, baby. Averaging just under 5 yards a carry, ran right through that Minnesota defense. 22 carries, 105 yards, and 2 scores. He also got Matt Breida. That Niners run game has been so consistently good this year. It's one of the biggest reasons, if not the biggest reason, I still might go defense, why they are where they're at playing for a spot in Super Bowl 54. Defense, I mentioned that. Nick Bosa, I do want to talk about him a little bit. Great. Now, he kind of had a bit of a sack drought, but you guys pay attention. You guys know how impactful Bosa was despite not getting the sacks. Brief little scare in the game. Stayed down after a sack, got back up, had the wind knocked out of him. Probably going to be fine for that blindside block based on recent history. And it doesn't really matter Bosa, the rookie, has been one of the best defensive players in the NFL this year, and they're going to need him against the Green Bay Packers. They're coming off a win over the Seattle Seahawks, heading back to the NFC Championship game. Aaron Jones, a lot of carries. The run was certainly established, didn't actually do all that much. The defense stepped up several times down the stretch. They played really well, especially in the first half. And Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams, they hooked up repeatedly in this one. That duo is going to be critical for Green Bay to make it to Super Bowl 54. Now, if you're feeling good about this game, head over to chatsports.com/bet. And Niners fans, I have a special promo code just for you guys. That's 49ers. It gets you a 120% deposit bonus. That's chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code 49ers to get that deposit bonus. I'm going to put my money down on San Francisco this weekend, or I should say this upcoming. The Packers, they're next up here. Not going to ignore you guys. Injury, more illness is more accurate here for BRYAN. Was active and then all of a sudden had to leave the game due to illness. He tried to gut through it, was not able to. Jared Veldheer was the backup. I thought he played okay. Not great. I thought the right guard kind of struggled because it wasn't the same combo there. But a week of recovery, I think, should be enough time for BULAGA. The good news is for Green Bay, much like San Francisco, they're actually relatively healthy right now entering the NFC Championship game. So let's compare these two teams. On offense, we'll begin. We'll go through the per-game raw averages and then see where they rank across the NFL. It's in favor of the 49ers, except for turnovers. Everything is an advantage San Francisco. They've moved the ball really well on the ground, 144, that's second best in the NFL, second most points per game. I will make note, defense, offense, it's all interconnected. Welcome to 2020 in the NFL. That's how it works. The passing game has been efficient. There have been mistakes by Garoppolo. That's kind of a stark contrast to Aaron Rodgers, who almost never makes mistakes, really good about throwing the football away. But the Packers' offense this year, frankly, has kind of been about league average. Now, they've won enough games that it's fine, but the defense has been an underrated part of this team. And I also want to shout out Davante Adams. He had a day against the Seattle Seahawks. They had absolutely no option or no answer to them. 8 receptions, 160 yards, 2 touchdowns. He averaged 20 yards per carry against the Seattle Seahawks. That was nothing short of incredible. Very impressed by the job that Davante Adams did. He's going to be a critical part of that team. He has a very tough matchup, a much tougher one this upcoming weekend against the Seattle Seahawks. But Adams balled out. He is obviously Aaron Rodgers' favorite target for good reason. They're going to need another big one from him if they're going to be able to beat San Francisco. All right, defensively, again, we made a big deal about how great the Niners were earlier on this year. Their numbers kind of dropped down just because of injuries. They allowed more points, a couple big high-scoring games. Green Bay's been really good, especially in points per game and takeaways. They're top 10 in both. They've allowed more yards, but if you force turnovers, you're going to be okay. San Francisco, 8th in points per game, but look at the yards per game. They have the number 1 pass defense, number 17 run defense, which is fine, especially when you're giving up only the second fewest yards per game. Both of these defenses have played well, but I think we know where the advantage lies, right? It's San Francisco. They've already shut down Green Bay once this year. That was a 37-8 win by the 49ers. Aaron Rodgers had nothing going in the air. The ground game was non-existent. Jimmy Garoppolo to throw it 20 times, 253 yards. They didn't even need the run game in that one. But I will make note, in a very strange twist, and an impressive twist too, the Green Bay Packers have actually not lost since this game. They've not lost since. They were 8-3 after it. They have not lost since that game. The Niners have had a couple of tough matchups, but overall, they've played great. It's been a super impressive showing here for the San Francisco 49ers and for the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers said it after the game. I think there's good reason for it. These have been the 2 best teams in the NFC, and now we get to see them play in the NFC Championship game. I speak this as an objective viewer. I would very much like a close game between these two. That is what I want to see. We'll see if we actually get that. 37-8 was the score last time around. Curious what happens this time for these two teams. Should be a good one. Should also be a very good quarterback matchup. Now, Jimmy Garoppolo actually has a higher completion percentage, better yards per attempt, and more touchdowns than Aaron Rodgers. He also has fewer yards, since less attempts, and more interceptions. Garoppolo has been a very good quarterback for the 49ers. He's done exactly what's asked of him, but the turnovers could be a problem. He just makes some gunslinger plays that cannot show up against the Packers. Aaron Rodgers, meanwhile, made plays when asked against the Seattle Seahawks, and he may not be the same guy he was in his prime, but he is still Aaron Rodgers. Got a deal for you guys. Head over to chatsports.com/NFL playoffs. It's chatsports.com/NFL playoffs. Check the description. Check the comments. I got gear on sale for you guys from the NFL playoffs. That's 49ers gear. That's Packers gear. Oh, by the way, I will make note, if you're not a team still out in the postseason, if your team's already been eliminated, there is still gear on sale at chatsports.com/NFL playoffs. Go check it out today. One more time here, the NFC Championship game, Packers at the 49ers. I mentioned it was kind of a historical rivalry. We've seen these two teams play a lot in the past, especially in critical moments. The last 5 matchups, though, kind of a split. Not quite because it's 5, but the Niners have the advantage. They, of course, won this year's past game. Packers won 2018 and 2015. In 2014, though, 2 games that came down to the wire. 1-score games there. The Niners won both of them. They were both really good games if your memory goes back that far. Mine doesn't always. But predict the score of this upcoming one. The Packers at the 49ers. By the way, do not forget to mention which team you think will win this particular matchup.